What's going on, Japsters? This is your boy SYNTELL with the Intel. Before we get started, make sure you hit that subscription button, click the bell icon for up-to-date news breaks, and give us a well-placed thumbs up. Let's get started. Hey, if you love video games and love movies, you are going to love today's segments. Yes, plural. We finally have our first look at the heroes of the new Resident Evil movie. The new teaser images for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City show off Claire and Chris Redfield, Leon S. Kennedy, Jill Valentine, and Albert Wesker, along with other characters from the series. Played by Carlos Akaya Scodelario and Leon Evanjogia, as they venture into Raccoon City around the beginning of the zombie outbreak. Another photo features Chris Redfield, played by Robbie Amell, Albert Wesker, played by Tom Hopper, Jill Valentine, played by Hannah John Kamen, and Brad Vickers, played by Nathan Dales, all heavily armed, moving through the creepy Spencer mansion. The final teaser image is of Lisa Trevor, played by Marina Mezapa, a character from the game who was one of Umbrella's most gruesome test subjects and seems to occupy a similarly creepy space in the movie. Welcome to Raccoon City is directed by Johannes Roberts, creator of 47 Meters Down, who said in an interview with IGN, the new Resident Evil movie structure is heavily inspired by Assault on Precinct 13, the 1976 John Carpenter movie where a ragtag group defends a police station from a mysterious gang. This makes a lot of sense considering that Robert also said the recent Resident Evil 2 remake, which also heavily features a police station under siege, is one of his biggest influences for the movie. The movie itself will be based on the first two Resident Evil games and will be set in Raccoon City. According to Roberts, it'll have nothing to do with the previous Resident Evil movies, and instead it'll take more inspiration from the games, going for more outright horror than sci-fi action. Robert also said he wants to do more than put the games directly on screen, and that it was important for the movie to stand on its own while still being faithful to the source material. So there's a couple of things that I thought was interesting. So James Wan was set to produce this reboot and Greg Russo was hired as the writer, but the two later left the project, with Russo leaving in November 2018 and Wan in December 2018 to focus on their work on Mortal Kombat. Greg Russo's unused story and the script for the reboot, which he was developing with James Wan, was inspired by and was also similar to Resident Evil 7 Biohazard. Russo wanted the reboot to go back to a scarier tone of the original games and focus more on horror, just like Resident Evil 7 did. So this will be the 11th Resident Evil film, including the animated CGI films Biohazard 4D, Resident Evil Degeneration, Resident Evil Damnation, and Resident Evil Vendetta, and will be the 7th live-action Resident Evil film in the series. Now, this is one of those franchises that I never would have imagined to have maintained this long of a cinematic life. According to TheNumbers.com, Resident Evil movies have already grossed over $1 billion worldwide. In fact, every one of their movies have doubled their profits. This franchise practically prints money. Forward to the next video game movie. The video game adaptation series The Last of Us, which appears to have wrapped its first episode under the direction of Kantemir Balagov, who recently shared on social media that his job is done. While Balagov is directing the first episode, the rest of the series will be helmed by Jasmila Zabanik and Ali Alabasi, who shared director duties on the show. Kantemir Balagov updated his Twitter with, "My job here is done. I'm really grateful for the opportunity. It was a great experience with ups and downs." He went on to list all of the people who have made the production a good experience, including lead Pedro Pascal and Neil Druckmann. The Last of Us is a post-apocalyptic thriller based on the video game of the same name and features more or less a straight translation of the game's storyline, although there is a possibility that it could take on board some of the elements that took place in the second game. At the same time of the series being announced back in March 2020, Mazin and Druckmann were both very excited about the project, and with Mazin being a fan of the game, there was never a doubt the series was in the best hands. This was backed up by Druckmann being heavily involved in the production and his previous comments that the show would also feature some of the game elements that were cut. Druckmann states, "From the first time I sat down with Craig, I was equally blown away by his approach to the narrative and love of deep understanding of The Last of Us. With Chernobyl, Craig and HBO created a tense, harrowing, emotional masterpiece. I couldn't think of better partners to bring the story of The Last of Us to life as a television show." Man, I don't know if any of you all have seen Chernobyl, but it is another one of those chef's kisses. I mean, production value is amazing, the storytelling is amazing, the acting is amazing. If you haven't seen Chernobyl, you need to stop what you're doing and check out Chernobyl. HBO was not fooling around and bringing the beloved video game The Last of Us to the small screen. The cable network is said to be spending tens of millions per episode, which will make it one of the most expensive TV shows ever made. That demonstrates a lot of faith in the property on the network's part, though it is still a big risk to take, especially when many big budget video game movies have failed to connect with audience in the past, but TV is a different animal. While no precise figure has been cited, the report notes that it is rumored to be in the hundreds of millions of dollars. That would put it up there with the likes of Game of Thrones and The Mandalorian as one of the most expensive TV shows ever produced. Interestingly enough, Pedro Pascal, who is playing Joel, is involved in both of these shows as well. Apparently he's a good luck charm for big budget television. There is still no premiere date set for The Last of Us, but based on the production schedule, it seems likely that the series will premiere sometime early in 2022. Now move over, big budget films. We're off to the races with big budget series. Studios are dumping buttloads of money into creating lasting worlds in a series format. Let's also not forget about Amazon's Lord of the Rings TV show, which is expected to be the single most expensive show ever made, costing roughly $1 billion when it's all said and done. We knew there was money in their fields with the wildly successful Game of Thrones. Add to the fact that many people have upgraded their home theaters to closely resemble the movie-going experience, and it seems like a no-brainer. People are already at home, why not give them a quality experience from the safety of their own sofa? I am curious as to where they are spending all of this money. Already established zombie post-apocalyptic series like The Walking Dead aren't using budgets on this level. We may be expecting some incredible special effects regarding creature design in multiple locations perhaps. Whatever is causing the inflated budget, I'm excited to see if it actually pays off. Well, that's the intel for today. Thank you for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscription button and click the bell icon to receive up-to-the-minute updates. There's also a nifty little thumbs up button that you can hit as well. This is SYNTELL with the Intel, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace out.